Back in the underground pit, Linda was so much terrified and was sobbing. Armed with her phone flashlight, she started looking for a way out. The pit was deeper than she expected, and as she reached the bottom, the air grew cold and damp. The walls were lined with ancient stone, slick with moisture and covered in moss. The only sound was the distant dripping of water echoing through the tunnels branching off from the main chamber. She searched for the way out. Her phone flashlight beam danced across the walls, revealing strange, faded symbols etched into the stone. A sense of unease settled over her. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was not alone. As the hours passed, the atmosphere grew heavier. A cold draft whispered through the tunnels, carrying with it an eerie, almost human moan. Linda's heart raced as she turned, her flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. She could have sworn she saw a shadow move, just at the edge of the light. She tried to calm herself, telling herself it was just her imagination. But then the whispers began. Soft at first, indistinct, but growing louder and more insistent. They seemed to come from all around her, echoing off the stone walls. "Who's there?" she screamed out, her voice echoing back at her. The whispers stopped abruptly, replaced by an oppressive silence. Linda's breath came in short gasps as she strained to hear anything, but the silence was deafening. Then, the laughter started. Low and mocking, it filled the chamber, coming from every direction. She spun around, her phone flashlight flickering, casting long, sinister shadows. In one of the tunnels, she saw it, a figure, barely more than a silhouette, with eyes glowing a sickly yellow. It was grinning at her, its teeth sharp and gleaming in the darkness. Panic surged through her as she stumbled back, her phone torchlight slipping from her grasp and clattering to the ground. The phone flickered and went off, plunging her into darkness. She could hear the figure moving closer, the sound of its footsteps echoing off the walls. The whispers returned, louder now, more insistent. Objects began to move in the darkness, stones shifting and scraping against each other, the sound amplified in the confined space. "You're mine," the voice hissed, closer now, almost in her ear. She felt a cold, clammy hand brush her shoulder, and she screamed, her voice echoing through the tunnels. She tried running very fast, but her feet were too weak. The demon's presence was a heavy, suffocating weight pressing down on her. It whispered her name over and over, each time with more venom and malice. She felt an invisible force grip her, pulling her towards the center of the chamber. Linda tried to fight it, but it was too strong. The demon's laughter filled her head as it took control, her own consciousness fading into the background. She felt her limbs move, but it was not her will driving them. Her vision blurred, and she saw her own hands, pale and claw-like, reaching out in front of her. The last thing she saw before everything went black, her reflection in a pool of stagnant water at her feet, as glowing a malevolent yellow, the demon's grin on her face.